Hey, there's Pete, GCI Turf Academy. Hope you're good, hope you're doing good. And my gosh, would you look at that. That Aerate and that RGS has brought this joker to life. So about 3 weeks ago maybe, I put down my Aerate application. And look at that. Good day in the morning, boy. Look at that right there, boy. I'm telling you, it ain't nothing like springtime, man. It ain't nothing in the world like springtime. I absolutely, uh-oh. Now I can't be having that, can I? I'll take care of that, don't worry. I'll show you how to kill that kind of stuff in another video. So I put down my Aerate 3 weeks ago maybe. About 2 days I got a color response, real quick. All right. After that, the week after that, I went out with my GCI Turf Academy spring fertilizer. And I went out with a shot of RGS in my pre-emergent. I've had a couple of good rains on it. And my goodness, look at it. Look at the difference. Whoop. So let's go over here and let me show you this. Now I intentionally done this for a reason. This little strip of turf right here, you can see it's a little darker than my neighbor's, but this little strip of turf is mine, and I intentionally left it untreated simply to show you the difference. Look at that. What a difference. What a difference. Man, I love this stuff. I love it. Okay, so the craze right now is the Greene County RGS Biostimulant. And I don't think anybody's ever took the time to actually explain to you what's in the jug. Now, I know you've watched my buddy Matt, Grass Factor. He's actually the one that introduced me to Greene County Fert, and man, thank you so much, Matt. Thank you. That's all I can say. Man, you really found a good product. Now, to give you my backdrop or my backstory on this, I've been using Humic and kelp and fulvic and micronutrients and all that for 8, 9, 10 years. As long as I've been doing lawn care, I've been using them because I've always been a fan of working on the dirt and making the dirt happy. That way your plant is happy. So a lot of my mixtures I've been using for years are very similar to Greene County, but the difference is I had to actually source out the raw material and source them in bulk and then take them to my facility, break them down, mix up my percentages and my mixtures the way I wanted them. It took me years to, I'm not going to say perfect it, but it took me years to find out what worked and what didn't work. Well, when I met Matt and I got to talking about humates and all that, I'm not sure if he ever used them before, I have no idea, but he found Greene County and he introduced them to me, and John and Brad and those guys are cool. And that's the reason I started using their product is, one, they work. I mean, if it don't work, why the heck use it, right? And two, it saves me a considerable amount of money. We're not a large company and we're not a small company. We're a good sized company, and we mix a lot of solution. Matter of fact, we go through about 5,000 gallons of finished solution a week. So that's a lot of time. And what I'm getting at is where I used to melt down these raw humates and kelps and mix them and blend them, my gosh, it took me forever. Even with, I have a super efficient mixing system in my shop, and even with that, it still took me forever. So the reason I got so excited about John and him is they come to me already mixed. Duh. That's why I use them. They work, and it creates efficiency for me. I want to tell you a little bit more in detail about what's involved in these different packages. So let's check it out. All right, so here is your starting lineup. These 4 products here, we're calling that the Soil Activator Pack. These 4 products here, we're calling that the Tree and Shrub or Plant Pack. And my favorite, because I've got some personal ties to this one, this is what we're calling the BioStimulant Pack. When I started working with, or when I started developing the Academy and getting it up and running, one of my dreams or one of my goals was to be able to offer a commercial product to the DIY homeowner. And when I first met with John, they sent me samples of this to try it in 1-gallon containers. And I don't know what made me think of it. I said, gosh, we can ship that to a homeowner, and let's make him a pack that will greatly benefit him. So working with John and Brad and them, I come up with the Humic and the RGS Microgreen, and my aerate. Of course, it looks like it threw up on itself. Sorry about that. I've been using it. But I come up with this pack right here, and obviously this is my favorite simply because in my opinion, there's going to be a lot of opinions on it. I feel like you're going to get the most bang for your buck as far as your turf grass goes. Now, hence the plant pack, you're going to get the most bang for your buck as far as your plants go. And this mix over here is going to be more soil related and that kind of thing. All right, so first thing let's do is let's define the word biostimulant. Okay, and of course there's a lot of folks have different opinions on it and all, but I'm gonna give you my definition of a biostimulant. Now, here's what happens when you go out on your yard and you spread a fertilizer over your grass. It rains on the grass, it rains on the fertilizer. Those nutrients are washed down into the soil profile, down around the root zone. Well, something happens then. And what it is the biology in the soil, hence bio, keep that in mind. The biology in the soil has to break down those nutrients, has to take that nitrogen and break it down, almost kind of like it's eating it and then pooping the nitrogen back out, for lack of better words. And it turns it into a nitrogen source that it becomes available to the plant. Now, of course, you can buy plant available nutrients. It's a whole different process in making that, but I'm talking about just basic fertilizer. You put it on the ground, it's washed in, the biology in the soil converts that over into a different form of nitrogen so that the plant can take it up. So there's your word bio. Now the word stimulant, biostimulant. What these products do is they stimulate the biology. Hence the word biostimulant. That and of course I'm not getting that off of Google or anything like that. I'm just pulling this off the top of my head. That's my definition of a biostimulant. The products that you put on the yard that stimulate biological activity. All right, so one thing you're going to notice when we're talking about all of these is they're all going to have something in common. It's called this humic acid, liquid humic acid. Now, if you want the scientific, super duper in-depth version of what humic acid is or what some of these other things is, you need to flip over to Matt's channel, because when it comes to that kind of teaching, Matt is light years ahead of me. I'm just going to be up front with you. He knows way more about it than I do, as far as teaching the chemistries and what does what and this does that and that kind of thing. Incredibly smart dude. I cannot get over just how smart that joker is. But where I come into play is I feel like I can give a very practical explanation to where most dummies like myself can understand it. So humic acid basically, and everything I do when I talk about this stuff, you need to keep in mind it's in relation to your turf. Okay, I don't care where the stuff come from, how deep in the earth they mine it, how many years it took to make it. I could care less about that. All I care about is what does it make my yard look like, and how does it benefit my turf grass. So humic acid basically is when you apply it, it can be taken up by the plant and used. It can be washed off into the soil and used. And when it does that, it basically gets down in the dirt, and you've got all these nutrients tied up like phosphorus and potassium and calcium and whatever else is in the soil. Some of it's plant available, some of it is not plant available. And what I mean by that is the plant actually can feed on it. Imagine this: take a candy bar and put it inside of a safe. Okay, lock the safe and throw away the key. All right, you with me? You don't have a key to that safe, so that candy bar is not available to you, meaning you can't get in there and eat it. Of course, you could take a stick of dynamite and blow it up, I guess, but that's not the point I'm making. Go get the key, and that key is humic acid. Then you unlock the safe, and now it becomes available to you. So humic works a lot like that in the dirt, that it unlocks or makes nutrients available to the soil. It makes your fertilizers that you are putting down work much better. Humic also helps to open up the ground to somewhat aerate, kind of, in a way, creating little channels all through the ground and that kind of thing. So there's just so many benefits. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest benefits we have seen is the unlocking of nutrients. That's a big deal, because you're basically, by applying this, you're getting free nutrients from the ground that otherwise you would not have gotten. They would still be locked up and unavailable. But one of the coolest things is I can take you to, I don't know how many yards, several hundred yards. And when we started those yards, rock hard clay. I know you boys down in Georgia got it. I know you boys, up there in Pennsylvania got it. We all have it. Rock hard clay. Well, over the years of using humic acid, that clay has been broken down to some extent, and the top layer of that clay it slowly turned into a topsoil-like material, and therefore making it easier for your roots to penetrate and dig deep and that kind of thing. So humic is a great subject. So whether you use it alone, just like this, the Humic 12, use it by itself, or in conjunction with another product. And that leads us to the next one, Mr. RGS. This is, I think, is what is the craze is about. Mr. RGS right here. And let's talk about Mr. RGS, and let's show you what's in it. Humic acid, 6%, fulvic acid, 3%, and sea kelp extract at 3%. So we just talked about the humic, so focus. Thank you. So about the humic now. Now let's talk about, pick one. Let's talk about the sea kelp. Now, this is a big deal. I know you've seen my videos when I first started putting videos on YouTube, and I would show my fescue yard during the middle of summer, be super duper smoking hot, and no irrigation, This was before I put my irrigation system in, and you would see how the color of my yard, you would see how good it looked. And now I don't want to 100% give all the credit to kelp on that, but I'm gonna give a whole lot of the credit to kelp on that. Of course, you have to manage the yard throughout the entire year and set it up for those 2 months. It's kind of like like an Olympic trainer. He goes in all this training, and the Olympic trainer trains for so long of a time just for one event. Well, with my cool season turf, I'm training the cool season turf. I'm teaching it things throughout the year, preparing it, getting it ready for 2 months. That's all I want to do is 2 months to get it through those 2 months, and I have won the battle, because the rest of the year is a freaking piece of cake to grow fescue. It's not that difficult. Back to the kelp, sorry. So kelp, where does kelp grow? Well, kelp comes out of the ocean. What is one of the most harshest environments in the world? The ocean is. The other one being the desert. Well, the ocean has all that salt water and those waves crashing back and forth against plants and stuff in the ocean. That's incredibly harsh. Matter of fact, take your fescue yard and put it in the ocean and see how long it grows, right? It's just too harsh of an environment. Kelp grows in the ocean, and the minerals and the hormones and that kind of thing that kelp produces allows that kelp plant to live at peace in the ocean. It allows it to thrive. So when they take a kelp extract, and extract meaning they extract those hormones and extract those minerals out of that plant, and they put it into a form to where you can put it on another plant, talking about your turf grass. Your turf grass, in a way, kind of adopts those characteristics of that sea kelp plant. Now, of course, kelp does way more than that. I mean, it is a great food for biology. It's stimulating biological activity. But I like kelp for the one simple reason that it adds a very nice stress factor to the game, meaning it creates a different level of stress tolerance in your plant. And so great addition to the RGS. And then last is your fulvic acid. And I kind of get these mixed up sometimes, so somebody can chime in and tell me either fulvic comes from humic or humic comes from fulvic. I know that the fulvic is a much smaller molecule, and hence can be absorbed a little quicker, a little better. It actually acts as a chelating agent, sort of. And what chelating is something like when you apply something to a plant, it helps to absorb that product better. That's what chelation is. It helps it intake it or uptake it or whatever you want to call it. And fulvic is derived from humic, or humic is derived from fulvic. I don't understand all that. Really don't care to understand it. Really, I just know that fulvic helps everything to work better in the plant, in the soil. The things you apply to the soil, it helps. Fulvic helps to. Let's use the word intensify. It intensifies that absorption process and getting it down into the dirt and getting it going. So this is a great mixture. It's a great mixture. This alone will do wonders for your yard. Next on the list, Mr. Microgreen. Now, what's so cool about the Microgreen product? Look at all this stuff in it. Look at that. It's like a grocery list. Micro package is exactly what it says. You have macronutrients, which are your big boys, N, P, and K, and you have micronutrients. And the reason they're called a micronutrient is because typically plants require them in micro doses, meaning you don't have, I know you've heard folks say, well, you feed fescue at 4 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 throughout the course of the year, or 5 pounds of whatever it is. You give Bermuda this much nitrogen, this grass this much nitrogen. That's what it likes. Well, the micros, you don't give the plant that much of it. That's why the percentages are real low. They require minimum doses of it, and less doses and maybe more frequent applications of it. So this is kind of, you can look at this as kind of like your multivitamin for your grass, basically. And it just, typical fertilizers, you go buy a bag of whatever, say a 1937, or you pick the number, a 27010, you pick whatever number you want. You're not, it's a lot of them out there, and most of them out there, you are not going to get the micronutrients. That was one of the big this was my last one I picked for the biostimulant pack. I had the Humic 12, the RGS, and the Aerate were pretty cut and dried, and I was torn on this one and maybe the dethatch. I think we went back and forth trying to figure out which one, and I said, let's go with Microgreen, simply because I know that the DIY homeowner that does his own yard, he doesn't have access to a lot of different micronutrient products. I thought this would be a good fit, so that's why we went with that. Let's see. Let's do this. Same thing. That one threw up on itself. So Aerate, 5% potassium, soluble potash. Come on. There we go. Stupid phone. Now, the Aerate product is exactly what the name says. It is designed and put together and blended in such a fashion that it is designed to aerate the soil. Now, let's talk about aeration. Let's talk about the direct opposite of aeration. Let's talk about compaction first before we talk about aeration. Compaction is a major problem. Anywhere you go in the United States, you will deal with compacted soils. Now, what compacts soils? Rain will compact soil. Walking on it will compact soil. Mowing the grass will compact soil. Your kids playing in the yard will compact soil. The dogs the dogs walking on the soil on the yard will compact the yard. Anything you can think of almost will aid in compaction, or will magnify the compaction issue in the ground. It's something you can't avoid. You can't get away from it. It is going to happen, especially if you have a clay type soil. It's really going to be an issue. So hence the need for aeration. That would be a machine, a mechanical device that pulls cores out of the ground, an aerator. I know you've seen my videos where we use those aerators that break up the surface of the soil, and that allows oxygen and your nutrients you're putting down. It allows water to penetrate, to get down in the soil. And also the big deal is it allows your roots of your turf grass to dig. We want deep roots. We want deep roots. We don't want shallow roots. Shallow root system in a turf grass ain't worth a hill of freaking beans. It just ain't. You want deep roots in a turf. So you need to aerate the ground. Now this is an alternative to aeration, to mechanical aeration. What the Aerate product is basically going to do is going to get down in there, and it is going to open up the pores in the ground. The humic that's in here, it's going to, I know you've heard Matt talk about the surface area of humic, and humic creates carbon in the soil, air, oxygen. Well, that's basically what this product does. It opens up the ground to allow oxygen and air to infiltrate and work its way down through the ground, open up all these little cracks and crevices and microscopic little tunnels in the ground so that your root system can get in those tunnels and dig and dig and dig and go deep. Now, on a side note, you know my background on aeration. You know I'm a major fan of mechanical aeration and preparing the ground for grass seed and all that kind of thing. And that farm background where farmers go out and they till the soil. They till the soil to turn the clay over, to turn the soil over so that it exposes the oxygen and to open up the ground, to loosen the ground. I just got off the phone with Mr. Perry and we had a conversation. It was a good one. And I told him about a project or a little experiment that I want to do this fall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a section of the test plot and we're going to test this. Now, you have to understand where I'm coming from. I am in no way whatsoever doubting that the aerate product could possibly eliminate mechanical aeration. I'm not doubting that. I trust John. I trust what he says. I haven't been using the product long enough to know that. And you know that by watching my videos, you know I'm a you got to show me kind of guy, right? You got to show me the money before I'm going to believe it. So this fall, we're going to set up a test plot and we're going to use my personal test plot back here in the back, and we're going to take about half of it and I'm going to do our procedure in mechanical aeration, and I'm going to throw the book at it. Everything I can do, slit seed, aeration, aerator, everything to loosen the ground up mechanically. And then on the other side of the test plot, we're only going to use aerate. Now I'm still going to slit seed because you can't take grass seed and throw it out in the yard and expect it to germinate. That grass seed must be in contact with the soil. So to make it a fair test, I'm going to slit seed both areas. So one will get aerate and one will get my process of aeration and so on. And we'll just put this to the test and we'll see how well it works. So you got that to look forward to come September. So to recap, the BioStimulant pack is the Humic, the RGS, the Microgreen, and the Aerate. And the Tree and Shrub pack is also the Humic, the Microgreen, and the RGS. But where it's a little bit different is it has the Flora Green 402 in it. Now you can see it's got a little bit of nitrogen in it, got some potash in it, sulfur, iron. Basically, this is a good all-around product for tree, shrub, flowers. It's even got palm trees on here. We don't have palm trees in North Carolina to my knowledge, maybe a few, but for you boys down in Florida, that way down toward the beach, the coast area, this is going to be a great product. It's basically an all-around nutrition pack or nutrition source for tree and shrub and plant. We're actually, you know, I'm a big guy with flowers. You know, I love my flowers in the summer and pansies in the winter, and the annual color, and where you can change it up and get different looks. Well, we're going to use this on our flower in our fertilization program for our flowers this year, and we'll see how well this does. You can use it in container plants. You can use it in your garden if you want to. Just a good all-around mix, a good healthy mix for tree and shrub and plants. And last but definitely not least, you got the Soil Activator pack. This is your RGS, your Aerate. And then we've got two other products in here in the Soil Activator. One is the dethatch product. So you can see the dethatch has got some nitrogen in it. It's got molasses, fulvic acid, yeast blends. This product, I'm really looking forward to using this some in my own yard and using it some in the test plot. And basically, you know, during the spring of the year, you get all this super hard growth during the spring. You're cutting, and some grass clippings are not thatched. They break down, decompose. But the thatch layer itself tends to build up a little bit. Some yards are more thatchy than others. If you have a thatch problem, this will be awesome, because what this does is it's going to break down that thatch layer. It's going to return that thatch layer into the soil so that it stimulates and feeds that biology in the soil, therefore helping your plant thrive better. So I'm looking forward to trying some of this out myself. Good product here. And rounding up the list is the 700 green effect. Now this has some urea nitrogen in it, sulfur, and iron in it. And we all know now the Flora Green has iron in it as well. And iron is a big deal in a plant. And what iron basically does for a plant, whether it be grass, tree, shrub, bush, flower, whatever, it gives it that real nice, pretty dark green color. That's what the iron does in this whole process. It's basically to stimulate a color response to give you a richer, deeper, darker green. The nitrogen in here obviously is going to give you a little bit of growth out of it. We all know nitrogen is equals green and growth. It's interesting this made its way into the soil activator pack because it's got some sulfur in it. Now, sulfur is very good. It's highly oxygenated. It's very good at helping to aerate soils. Not only does it give aeration, but sulfur is also a very good coloring agent, meaning you can get a little dark green burst of color from the sulfur. So as far as pH goes with all these products, man, they're all across the board. You got some of these mixes are super duper low in pH. Some of them are super duper high in pH. So you kind of get a good variety, a good mix of the two pHs, and it kind of puts you somewhere in that neutral zone when you use the combination of products like that. So and then here you go. Here's one more. Now this isn't in any of the biostimulant packs, but I don't recommend you put Sundrop on your yard. Grass might like it for the sugar. So hey, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope I've shed a little bit of new light on what these packs are. I know that we just threw them at you all at once and said use them because they're good, but that's just not good enough for me. I want you to understand why you're using them and the benefits that your turf will have from it, the benefits that your tree and shrubs will have from it, and just how the combinations work together, and just how good this stuff is for the dirt. Because hey, man, that's been my philosophy for a long time. It's all about the dirt. You get your dirt and the biology in the soil rocking, and your grass is really going to be happy, I'm telling you. So I'm really excited to be able to offer this stuff to you, these commercial products. Now the DIY, the guy that loves working in his yard and wants to take his yard to the next, I didn't just say that, did I? To the next level. I said it. Well, you can now get these products. GCITurfAcademy.com. The BioStimulant Pack, I think, is $104. The Plant and Shrub, I think, is $113. And the Soil Activator is $98. Now, that includes the shipping. You go in, you go through the checkout, the cart, you buy it, you PayPal it or credit card or whatever you want to do, and they'll ship it right to your door. And then you'll have this stuff to be able to put it on your yard. Now, How do you know which one to pick? Because I've had that question a whole lot. Well, that's why we created a diverse product line right here, is to give you options. If you've noticed, the RGS is pretty much in every pack. The Aerate is almost in every pack, and the Humic 12 is almost in every pack. So you just need to go in, study them, figure out which combination you want, and then pick out the pack you want. Or heck, get one of each. That's up to you. Buy what you can afford, buy what you want to put into your yard. And another cool thing about this setup is that we got is when I was picking out the biostimulant pack, which ones I wanted to be in that particular group, you know, I had a big fear of the homeowner or the guy that, you know, works in IT or works in the plant, or the cop or the fireman or whoever. You know, he may not be 100% knowledgeable on this stuff, and he may be a little timid in applying this stuff because he didn't want to mess his yard up. Well, we took all that away, because when we put these packs together, they're foolproof. You can't hurt your yard. I want to make sure you know that we done that intentionally, because if you slip up a little bit and put a little bit extra in this corner or a little less in this corner, you're not going to hurt your yard. So don't think that because these are professional grade products that you can't apply them, because you can. And matter of fact, inside the academy, we teach you a lot more in detail about how to apply them, when to apply them, how much to apply of them, all that kind of cool stuff. So, hey, sorry for the long video, but hey, it was a lot to cover right here. I want to make sure I touch base on all of it. Thank you so much for watching this channel. Like, subscribe, all that cool stuff. Stay up to date. And I'm telling you, guys, I am having a blast doing this. The main reason I'm doing it, I want you to be able to have and enjoy the type of yard that I have, because my yard rocks. It just does. And I go all out on it. I don't cut no corners on it. I go 100% full tilt, full speed on my yard. And hey, man, I get to enjoy this thing. And it's pretty much all year. This is a fescue yard I'm growing that looks incredible during the summer. And I want you to have that too. And all this stuff makes a difference. It makes a difference. You can't just go out there and throw fertilizer on your yard. Well, it takes so much more than that to have a super high quality yard. You gotta get that dirt right. You gotta get your dirt right. It's all about the dirt. Hey, check you later. Be encouraged. We're still coming out with some videos about growing your business. If you're a lawn care guy, man, I've got a list a half a mile long of little short clip videos that I'm going to share experiences with you. And when I've been growing my company, where I started to where I'm at now, and I'm doing that to encourage you. I want you to have a successful, growing, thriving, profitable, enjoyable company. And I want you to have great employees. I'm going to tell you all about that stuff. So stay tuned, because I'm going to open up to some pretty personal stuff I'm going to share with you, because I'm not ashamed. I'm going to tell you all about it that's helped me get from point A to where I'm at now. So hey, be encouraged and peace out. Hey, don't forget my grass seed giveaway. I got a 50-pound bag of my premium turf type tall fescue that I'm gonna give away. We're at $22.75 on the subscriber list right now. When we get to 2,500, I'm gonna give a bag away. When we get to 2,750, I'm gonna give a bag away. And when we get to 3,000, I'm gonna give a bag away. And with each bag of seed that we give away, I'm also give you a gallon of RGS. So don't forget, tell your buddies to subscribe and do all that cool stuff.